Okay, this is a demo of the most recent rig I've made called Picnic, provided by Professor Dan Triplett from Purdue University. I will make sure to put his portfolio site, so if you want to check out any more of his work. Starting off, we just have the basic global control for the whole position. You have your typical IK rig for the legs with a pointer for the knee, and then here on the foot we have a foot roll, so for when doing a walk cycle, a simple foot roll. And if we go up, we have two pelvis controls, one that does have the hips into account, so if you want the hips to move along with the torso, or if you just want the pelvis to move on its own for whatever reason, you can be able to do that. We have some very simple controls for his hip node and abdomen. If he's an ant, you'll probably want control of that. And as we move on, we have the typical back rotation. You can deform all the way and do a full back bend if you need to. Typical clavicle control, though he is segmented, you probably won't be using it too much, but it's still there for the animator if they need it. And typical FK chain, see, for an arm, and it can switch to IK. Classic setup of having a pointer for the elbow and the IK setup. And one thing I have done is added this area called turn ratio. When you rotate his wrist, the turn ratio will determine how much of his forearm will rotate with the wrist. 0 means no deformation, it's just the wrist rotating. All the way at 1 means 100% rotating. I typically keep it at half. I typically keep it at half, just for, I feel like that's a nicer deformation. Moving on to the head, just basic neck controls for both the bottom and the top of the neck, and a jaw control, and a pointer for where the eyes are going to point. It's difficult to show here because it is not a fully textured model, but the eyes do point to these controllers. And then also in this controller we have blend shapes. You can smile or frown, a droopy frown. There's not much eyebrows on this character, but you can still emote with the brows. You can have him raise his eyes. You can make a sad expression, anger, and then of course you can open the eyes. It can go from all the way closed to completely wide-eyed. I typically think around a 6 or a 7 would be about a natural, like, more neutral face, just his eyes are open but not all the way wide like this. And then you can also scrunch his lips together. And then the final part is just the antenna. You can rotate it in any degree, fine tune it however you want at multiple positions if you need to. And they are in different orientations, so when you rotate them, you can rotate them both at the same time and they'll move in their own separate directions. And that is the Picnic rig.